video, I'd like to share some auxiliary dummy techniques that you can play when you're not doing the actual dummy form in the sections. So the first part involves no contact on the dummy, it's just footwork. Now you have to imagine that the dummy is this big, hard force of momentum coming at you that's stronger than you and faster than you. So the first thing you're going to learn how to do is a slight evasive shift. I'm going to exaggerate it a little bit. I exaggerate it completely, I can almost get most of my body out of the way. Right, so here's the shift, and then if you want, you can add like a Pak style hand. So it's soft, it's smooth. Okay. The next one is a step. One step, and you want to bring your knee up to your other knee. So from here, I step with my hips, my shoulder, my knee, everything goes here. Now you notice I'm completely out of the way of the path of the dummy, but my leg is still kind of in the way. But what's good about this is that if you feel contact or momentum, you can easily pick it up and step in. Okay? So, step, come around, come in. So practice the step. When you do the step, as in the third part of Chun cue, here, your hands have to be out of the way. If you're doing a following technique or a technique where the force is coming in and you're accepting it, you have to have your hands out of the way. So when you practice this movement, make sure your arms come in so they're completely out of the way, and then you can bring them into play as needed. Another aspect of Wing Chun, which gives the Wing Chun practitioner advantage, is that we have a superior structure in that we put our elbow in the center. We use elbow in center line technology, elbow in technology. Essentially what that gives us is a better point of leverage than the person that doesn't have their elbow in the center has. And also in Wing Chun, we're used to striking against and along the opponent's limbs. So we contact, I strike against this, right? I strike against it. A lot of fighters, once they engage a hand, they're going to pull back off that arm and strike. Right? Off. In Wing Chun, we don't do that. Wherever I engage this hand, I'm going to strike. I engage this hand here, I stay against it. Here, I'm going to slide against it. Doesn't matter where I am. And one of the things we also do in Wing Chun is initially when you first learn how to do strikes, you do an explosive strike, usually at distance. And then as you get more advanced, you move your Wing Chun in closer and closer, and you learn how to be like in a grappling range with your Wing Chun. And then you use your techniques for finishing takedowns. But one of the things that we do is we inject force into the person. So it's not just explosive strike, and it's not just a push. It's strike, push, and then inject. When I'm pushing, I'm never pushing out like this. Once I strike and I'm pushing, my arm is spring energy reloading. So right now I'm pushing this whole thing back. But my arm is pulling in. And since it's pulling in, I'm spring loaded to release energy. And that works with a palm or a fist. Now, what's the advantage of a fist in Wing Chun? The advantage is about 3-inch reach, 3 inches. A fist is not better than a palm. A palm is better. A palm is better because you have a closer structure to the bone, which goes right through into your body. So we want to hit. Palm is better. You can do more with a palm. You can contour a palm many different ways. And also, against a much taller opponent, a palm can go way up, whereas a fist, you're kind of relegated to this. But a palm, you can still have control. And once you make contact with a palm, if you're smart enough, you don't pull your hand off, you're able to still manipulate that person. And so a palm is very, very important. Another thing is if I make a fist and I want to grab, then I got to open my fingers and then grab. With a palm, it's already ready. A palm's open, I can grab. In Wing Chun, we do a lot of grabs like this. We don't really use the thumb that much. Most people grab like this. We grab this way because we're only going to hold on for a minute, maybe to kick you, maybe to do a technique or a takedown. With a full-fledged Chino lock, yeah, you might do that. But even like in this section, you see here, see my thumb? Because we want to be able to like let go fast. Here, it's a little more committed, and it also presents this as a vulnerability. So that's why this grab. But what you want to learn with spring energy is this, is that sometimes when we do a punch, and I meet the person's arm, he's stronger than me, then I have to receive his energy with a spring energy, receive it in, send it back along his arm. So it's like I come around, I receive it in, send it. I come in, receive it, send it. So it's this kind of movement where I meet the arm, I come in, I receive it, send it out. So it's almost like circular. And you can even do it outside. You can do an outside kind of. I'm meeting it here, coming in. And you can do it low. So get used to meeting this force and striking along that arm so that it conditions you to have an impulse reaction where you meet the person's arm. And you know in Wing Chun, all we have to worry about is going forward. You don't have to chase hands, you don't have to worry about where the hands go up. As soon as the hand's retracted, we go forward. As soon as the hand moves, we go forward. That's what we're training. So we're coming in, and superior force is against us. All I need to do is transition my body over a little bit and strike along that arm. Take it, bring it in to where I can control it with my elbow, and send power up the same arm. So these are some of the auxiliary techniques. I'll show you a couple other ones. Now, the dummy leg. If you've learned Chi Gurk, you know you stick to the person's leg, right? You stick. So you can do just this basic. And what you're doing is you're sensitizing your body here. You're sensitizing your body. And keep in mind that the bottom of the dummy trunk represents the person's back leg. Some people don't know that. The back leg, right? The back leg. So when you're on the front, you can transition into the back leg. You can even practice your Hun by maintaining contact. Try to maintain contact. A little bit of forward energy. Now what you want to do also, and this is not just Wing Chun, this is all Kung Fu, is you want to sensitize your body. I like to say that there's no wasted movement in any traditional Kung Fu form. But there's a lot of movement that goes to waste. And the reason it goes to waste is people's bodies are not sensitized. Especially in Wing Chun. Sometimes we get wrist-centric. We're so concerned with the wrist that we forget about the elbows, we forget about the body. So you have to sensitize your body. So with your leg, you got to sensitize your leg. So you can come up, you can even rub your leg on the lower arm, right? On the lower arm, on the inside. You have to be able to control every part of your body when you make contact with the opponent. For example, the beginning of Silam Tao. This is how I begin it. Your arms come up, come out. A lot of people do it this way. And then and that's the traditional standard, and there's nothing wrong with that. But in line with the softer side of Wing Chun, which is what the first video is about, I'll give you an example of why I start my Silam Tao like this. Both arms come up, they come to eye height, they open into two tan sows. As I sink, I'm receiving energy in my tan sao. So I'm receiving. Here, 1, 2, now I do a third because I want my toes forward. This is really more for training. It's for training. Once you develop this, you'll see masters of high level doing Chi Sao. It's like they're just walking. They're walking, they're playing the form, they're throwing people all around, they're controlling them, and their feet are not like this and they're not stepping like this. They're just kind of natural. So really the toes should be pointing forward. You know, if you're blocking something or you're guarding, yeah, you can turn it in. But so here, give you an example of sensitizing the body. This comes down. When this comes up and these come in, this is a receiving movement. This is a receiving movement. Moyak calls this the elbow protection line. Right here. It's the elbow protection line. So I don't necessarily have to do a gong sao to block here. I can just block by bringing my elbow in. At the same time, when you're receiving, when the arm's coming in, you're loading up a spring load to send into the person. Now, as far as the legs, 1, 2, 3. Let's take a look at 1. Here, if I'm up against his leg and I turn this out, if I do this hard enough, I could probably crack this. It's a very strong movement. So, turning out, if you get the person, you get their balance, turn them out, you can knock them down easily or break their balance. The second move, it's an outward movement done with the heel. So here, it's like a mini kind of sweep. Right? So every movement has purpose. And even this here, this is the thigh. If you're in contact with the person and your thigh is against their thigh or their hip, you can rotate this out, and you're rotating a force that's going to upset their balance. And if you upset their balance, then you can come in and close and come forward. So these are some of the auxiliary techniques that you can play with on the wooden dummy. And play them slow, play them soft. Try to get the most out of your training, because our time is obviously limited unless you can spend all day doing this. You know, most of us have full-time jobs. And you want to get really the most for your money here in training. So I hope you found some of these things useful, and see you in the next video. Thanks. Bye-bye.